And of course, today all eyes will be on Windsor as the King is set to join the royal family for their annual Easter service at St George's Chapel.
Well, let's talk to royal biographer and photographer Ian Lloyd. Good to see you this morning, Ian. It's going to be...
Well, happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter. I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's difficult. We all want to see the King. But we want to see him looking well, don't we? So it is going to be fascinating to get that glimpse of him today.
Well, absolutely. But the fact that they issued a statement saying that he's going is a positive step, because when the Queen was frail and the Queen Mother was frail, it was usually wait and see on the day approach. Do you know what I mean? To sort of just see how they would cope. The fact that a few days ago they announced he was going is to be seen as a positive sign, I think.
Ian, you've followed the royal family for a long time, so you must know them fairly well. How do you think King Charles will be feeling if he had let people down? We all understand cancer treatment is not a good thing to go through. It's exhausting, basically. But he would be determined to be there today, won't he?
Yeah, that's something he's inherited from his mother. I think he knows that should he not turn up, then that would be a worrying sign, so that... he will definitely try his best to be there. I mean, whether he'll drive down, I don't know, because they walk normally from what's called the upper ward, the top bit, down to the lower ward where the chapel is. And you can see on your footage, they're going through something called the Galilee Porch, which actually is a direct link to where they sit, which is in the choir. So he's not sitting with the congregation, so that that means that he's not likely to be in a situation where he could possibly meet people and get a virus or anything like that, you know, so he will be separated. And then afterwards, they normally go to a reception, but whether he'll bother with that with the Dean afterwards is doubtful, I would think. But they normally have a reception and they go back for their kind of lamb lunch like the rest of us, you know.
Well, he might be heading straight back to bed to rest up. I mean, it's good that he's getting out and about, that we will see him, but in one sense, he must be benefiting from the fact he knows there is a huge outpouring of support for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, people have been writing and getting letters back and so on. It does, it means a lot, doesn't it, when you're not very well and people are thinking about you. But he obviously must be worried about Catherine as well, and it's come at a bad time. The other thing is that as head of state, he needs to be at certain things, so they'll be concerned about that. I mean, there's upcoming Commonwealth visits to Australia, certainly later in the year, and it's the D-Day commemorations in June, isn't it? What's that, 80 years since 1944, so he'll want to try and be well for that. But the great thing is that we saw with the Queen, the late Queen, is that you can do a lot of things remote, can't you? And he did last week. He couldn't get to the Maundy service, so he did a sort of broadcast. So you can do a lot of that kind of thing today, which they couldn't years ago. So that's a good thing.
Do you think that he will be more determined to be there because of Catherine's situation? It's very important for us to see him there and sort of while Catherine is indeed having treatment herself.
Yeah, I mean, there's a problem, isn't there, with the royal family? They're quite depleted. I mean, they're just, you can't call it natural wastage, but people getting older, like the cousins and so on, and not working in the way that they could many years ago. So there's only 4 of them under 70. That's Catherine, William and Edward and his wife Sophie. So the rest are elderly. So he's got to be, I think, seen, like you say, to be looking as well as he can. And also not just Catherine, it's his wife, the Queen, who we saw last week in Shrewsbury and in Worcester for the Maundy. I mean, she wasn't born royal, and she didn't sort of carry out engagements till she was in her 50s. So it's a bit of a strain on her as well. So I suppose he'd be concerned, probably, the whole family. But yeah, he's the head of state, so he wants to be seen to be, doing really well.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for him today.
Absolutely.
Hope he's having a nice lie-in before he has to get ready for the day ahead. Ian, good to see you. As always,
you.
thanks very much indeed.
And staying with the Easter message, in today's ever-increasing secular society, churches are finding it harder than ever to have their messages heard and congregations are shrinking.
So it begs the question, what role should churches play in a modern society? Our Northern Ireland reporter Doogie Beattie has been to an outreach ministry in Belfast that deals with addiction and homelessness.